Hello, hello. Testing, testing. We're live. Welcome back to another episode of Gaining Clarity. Today, I'm going to be talking about depressive cycles. I feel like I've been talking a lot recently about cycles specifically because I've been going through a lot of major cycles in my life. I recently just got out of this really weird but transformative depressive cycle. You know, you're doing well, you're on top of life, you got things figured out, and then all of a sudden, one day, it's a little bit harder to get out of bed. Then the next day, maybe you don't do your morning ritual. Then the next day, maybe you don't do your night ritual. And then the next day, you just completely neglect everything and you become a couch potato. But that's like the good healthy state of mind to depression pipeline. I don't have any creative name for that. So I think back in February, it's April now, I had like 1 month, February to March. February was a rough month. I forget what exactly triggered it. One thing after another, I just really was not feeling it. I was dipping into some old habits that weren't really serving me. And I just was in this cycle of waking up, going on my phone for hours, or waking up late, sleeping in, just not doing the regular things that make me feel good. And so usually those last 1 to 2 weeks for me. It's not anything crazy, but this time it lasted a whole month because something else kind of derailed me. There was this one situation that kind of almost felt myself coming out of the cycle. I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back on track. I'm ready to be me again. And then something else just pulled me back, and I was back to that state of mind and dipped a little bit lower even. I like to think of it as my inner demons. I'm slowly escaping from them, and they just dragged me back. They're like, Claire, we're not done with you. All right. You still got a little bit to learn. We got to humble you a little more. All is well. I'm good now. Whenever that stuff happens, I don't show up as the person I want to be, especially for others. And I'm not exactly available for other people in my life. I'm not able to show love the same way, give love the same way. I might even be a little more bitter than usual. And I used to shame myself, and I still do shame myself for showing up that way, and just in general of shaming myself for showing up a certain way when I'm not doing well, and putting so much pressure on myself to show up a certain way when I am in a depressive cycle. Someone just posted a video, her name is Jackie, but her on Instagram is the Fruits and Seeds. She's awesome. You should go check her out. She sells beef tallow, which is pretty sick. And she's just very passionate about holistic health and empowering the goddess within you. But she posted a reel. I'm going to insert the video right here because the things she said just make so much sense, and she explains it so well. And that's basically what I'm going to be talking in this episode. So I'm going to play her video right now.
As you may know, when you're in a depressive cycle, it makes the average everyday human being tasks seem insurmountable. Things like having a healthy morning routine seem like a full-time job. And so when I would be in that state and I would not be able to show up for myself in the same way, I would beat myself up for it. And then I would be upset, and I would get the subconscious validation I needed to stay stuck in that cycle of self-loathing. It was not until I acknowledged and accepted the depressive cycle that I was able to better navigate it. Being so overwhelmed that you don't take action is a sign that you're biting off more than you can chew. So I peeled back these ideals that I had about how I should be showing up and decided that I would commit to one thing. That one thing was taking a morning walk. But committing to that one step, taking myself from the place of the victim to being empowered as the creator of my reality, had energetic repercussions on the rest of my life.
But yeah, she kind of just talks about taking things one step at a time. Just add one thing to your morning routine, going on a walk. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to show up a certain way, especially when you're in a depressive cycle. We put so much pressure on ourselves to show up a certain way for other people when we're not doing well, because we don't want them to think less of us, or we don't want them to think something else other than what we are of us, right? So that's a perfect segue about what I'm going to talk about, and actually very similar to the conclusions I've come to. I had a talk with my therapist yesterday, and I said something amazing. I was just sitting there and venting, as I do, and I don't remember for the life of me what I said. I just remember after that I sat down and I was like, oh my God, did you hear that just come out of my mouth? That was beautiful. But basically just adding one thing, not putting so much pressure on yourself. I thought my morning routine had to look wake up, meditate for 30 minutes, do yoga for another 30 minutes, this whole thing, to become the most spiritual person, to become my most healthy version of myself. But ever since this last depressive cycle, I've been taking it so easy, so slow and just listening to myself, and always just doing at least one thing. Like if I feel like I can't do anything, or if I feel myself really kind of giving in to that egoic voice of telling me like, oh no, you don't have to do it, just stay in bed a little bit longer, I'll just go on your phone, I just do one thing, and it makes such a big difference, because once you do that one thing, you have the momentum to do another thing maybe, but the pressure's not there to do that other thing, because you told yourself you just have to do that one thing. And it sounds so self-explanatory, it really does, but it's something you just don't think of. Especially when you're in a depressive episode, that's the last thing you want to think of. So if you're going to take anything away from this video, one thing at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. So right now what I'm doing is I'll wake up in the morning. If I don't feel like getting out of bed, I'll just do like a stretch and just like immediately get out of bed, like get on my feet. Like that's all I do. And then once I'm on my feet, like I'm good. And then I'll go to my little meditation corner. I started off with 5-minute meditations. Then I went up to 10-minute meditations. Now I'm on to 15-minute. And next week I'm going to do 20-minute, right? And just kind of like taking it one thing at a time, not doing too much. That's all I do. I meditate 10 minutes and then I'm done. And then I go do my thing, get ready for work, whatever it is I have to do, right? The difference has been inexplicable, but I'm about to explain it to you. Compared to mornings where I would wake up and lay on my phone for like an hour or two, just, not wanting to get out of bed and like stalling and starting my day off like that, which we already, like, you and I both know that's not good for you. Like whether you realize it consciously, subconsciously, whatever it may be, that's not the best way to start your day. You're already starting off your day by comparing. You're starting off your day by seeing 10 million different things, different topics, whatever's going on in the world right now, whatever trend is hot right now, etc., etc. That's not a great way to start your day, and it's so much stimulation, especially for the morning. But when you're depressed, what are you going to do about it, right? Like it doesn't matter to you. It's like all those things you've learned, all the things you know are good for you just go out the window, because depression does not discriminate. I don't have to describe depression though. Like if you know, you know. If you don't feel ready to take on the day, if you don't feel like yourself just yet, just take one thing every single day that you know you can do. Walk around your block, literally walk up the block. Just get out of your house, get some fresh air, get some sun. Sun makes a big difference. That's one thing I always forget, especially during the winter, is that vitamin D makes a big difference in your mood, your emotions, your feelings. So if you're not feeling too hot, just go, and you're going to be scrolling on your phone anyway, scroll on your phone outside. Go be a lazy bum outside. Get some sun. Touch some grass. I think a lot of people are realizing this now. And I don't know if it's a new revelation because of like the social media trends that happen. People try them and then they come out with conclusions of their own. And this seems to be a common consensus of just like, we put too much damn pressure on ourselves. We see people having these perfect morning routines, perfect days, perfect night routines, perfect lives on social media, but everything's completely fabricated. You only see the good moments of this person's life. And we all know this already. This is common knowledge, but we forget. So I think the approach that people are going for now is kind of just like taking a more real approach when it comes to health. Instead of doing this picture perfect Pinterest aesthetic healthy lifestyle, doing it for the actual benefits and doing it in a way that serves you, not a picture perfect way that serves someone else or looks good for someone else. We're all different from each other in a little way, and we're all going to function a little bit differently than the other person. And so we need to find what works best for us. And so I think it's amazing to learn all these things from social media. Like, social media is a powerful tool. It's an expansive tool, but it can also be extremely detrimental. So use these videos, use this content you see as inspiration, add things to your routine, but don't try to completely mimic something as someone and then put a lot of pressure on yourself when it doesn't work out, because of course it's not going to work out. That's not what works for you. And ever since I've shifted that mindset around my morning routine, my night routine, the way I start and end my day, I've also noticed myself putting less pressure on myself in just my everyday life. So I used to have these rules in my head. Like, where do these rules come from? Until I started slowly unwriting a lot of them. I told myself I would have to work out like 5 times a week, twice a day, etc., etc. But it's like, that's a lot of pressure. Sometimes I don't have the energy. Sometimes I don't want to do that. And so when you set that up for yourself, rather than just going with how you feel in the moment, that can be extremely self-sabotaging, because you're burning out of your energy. You're giving more, you're biting off more than you can chew, just like Jackie said. And that's what causes that burnout. That's what causes the start to that depressive episode. All of my depressive cycles, all of my depressive episodes start because I'm putting too much on my plate. I've noticed this pattern, and my therapist has helped me point it out and identify the pattern. But whenever I put too much on my plate, expect too much of myself, focus on more than one thing, that's when these cycles start, because of that pressure I'm putting on myself. And that's exactly what happened last month. I was doing yoga. I was editing videos for this one person. I had the job that I work at part-time. I have this other job that I work at part-time. And on top of that, I have my podcast, my YouTube, right? My own personal creative projects. That is a lot of places to have my energy in. And I don't know what else I might have been doing at the time. I could have had one or two more things on my plate. Who knows? It's a gift and a curse. I have a lot of different interests, but I think many people can relate to this, just trying to be everywhere, trying to be everyone, trying to do everything. You can do anything, but not everything. And I think that's very, very important to note, especially as women, and like what part in our menstrual cycle we're in, honoring those rest phases, honoring the phases where we have more energy, being mindful of how you're spending your energy and where you're directing that energy, and in how many directions can help you avoid these depressive episodes. And even though depressive episodes are not really avoidable, they'll happen. That's just the way life is. There's an ebb and flow of life. What comes up must come down, right? So eventually you're going to hit your low moments. The point is, this mindfulness is also going to help you navigate these depressive episodes. It's going to help you bounce back quicker to your healthy self. It's going to help you bounce out of it. It's going to help you come out of those episodes learning something new. Basically like going in an upward spiral, right? I think it's also important to note how much pressure we put on ourselves as young people. Personally, I have my own set of pressures at home within my own parents, wanting me to be successful, of course, in whatever I choose to pursue. But sometimes it's not as helpful as they think it is, because it makes me feel like I have to do things quick. I have to get there quick. I have to be doing more. I'm not doing enough. When in reality, they don't know everything that I do, So also finding that voice of reason, finding ways to ground yourself when you find your mind like going in a million different directions, like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and having so many things that you become paralyzed and just choose to do none of them. That's also another thing, just picking one thing. So like, even though I'm not doing one thing now, I've definitely like minimized the amount of directions I'm going in. Like now I think I just have my part-time job, both my part-time jobs, but my other job is just once a week, so that's not really a big deal. So my part-time jobs, and then yoga and my podcast. So I have 3 different directions I'm going in right now, which is perfect. I feel good. I feel stable. Like, if you want to make room for other things, that's a task you handle another day. I'm turning 21 in June, so that's, in quick math, 2 months. This is a time in our life where we're figuring things out. Whether you're in college or whether you're not, you're either going to find yourself or you're going to lose yourself to find yourself. This is the part of the coming of age story no one told you, all right? You're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose yourself in order to find yourself. And along that path, you're going to make so many mistakes. But also, while you're making those mistakes, while you're going on that path, don't put that much pressure on yourself. There's so much pressure to just like know everything already. It's like, girl, chill. Like 2 years ago, I was in high school, okay? Like, I don't know what's going on. But I hope you gained something out of this episode. This is just my 2 cents on the topic. I know many people can definitely relate. That's all I've got for today. I'm going to keep it nice and short and sweet. Find tools, find ways to keep yourself grounded, especially times when you're not doing too hot, so that you can be the best version of you when you are doing well. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you gained a little bit of clarity just like I have, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!